They sold you the dream of a golden state, a sun-drenched paradise where real estate was more than an asset. It was an ascendant force immune to gravity. That was the foundational lie, a grand and glittering deception. Because the dream is over, the gold rush has ended, and the 2025 California housing crash is not a distant forecast, but a present and terrifying reality. While a chorus of paid voices, the media, the agents, the officials, sings a lullaby of stability, the data screams a different song. It tells a story of a controlled demolition, an engineered collapse. These are the 10 cities at ground zero, the epicenters where the great California unraveling will be most deeply felt. Number 10. Sacramento. Our countdown begins in Sacramento, the city that sold itself as the last refuge for the California dream. It became a pressure valve for the Bay Area's excess. But a market built on the exodus of others is a market built on sand. Now the wave of tech money has receded, leaving Sacramento stranded, exposing an abyss between local wages and the fantasy prices left in the wake of the boom. The inventory is exploding, the price cuts are a daily ritual, and the trap that was set for so many is finally closing. Number 9. Riverside and the Inland Empire. From Sacramento, we travel south into the ghost of 2008. The Inland Empire was the epicenter of the last great housing crash, and it seems history's most painful lessons were ignored. The same forces are at play, only this time the scale is larger. A biblical flood of inventory is drowning the market as homes sit untouched for months, a testament to a buyer pool that has been completely annihilated. The psychology of the seller has been shattered, replaced by a palpable panic that is visible in every deep, desperate price cut. This market, once again built on the lie of affordability, is collapsing under the weight of its own deception. Number 8. San Diego. They call it America's finest city, a paradise so perfect its real estate was thought to be immune to market forces. But even paradise has a price, and that price has become impossible to bear. The sunshine tax has metastasized into a terminal illness for the housing market. For the first time in over a decade, prices are in a sustained, undeniable decline. The bidding wars are a forgotten memory. The all-cash offers have vanished. What remains is a market frozen in fear, where sellers are trapped by their own phantom equity, and a generation of buyers has been locked out. A city where a six-figure income is not enough to survive is not a city with a stable market. It is a city on the brink. Number 7. Oakland. Across the bay from San Francisco's decay, Oakland is collapsing under the weight of its neighbors' failure. For years it thrived on the spillover demand from the tech capital's excess, but that lifeline has been cut. The wave of layoffs across the bay has been a kill shot to the buyer pool. This economic rot is compounded by a deep and worsening crisis of crime and social decay, fueling an exodus of the very families that once formed its foundation. Sellers are now trapped with million-dollar mortgages on properties in a city that is actively deteriorating, a grim testament to the fact that proximity to a bubble is just as dangerous as being inside of it.
Number 5. Los Angeles. The dream factory is now a foreclosure factory. The city's affordability crisis is not a problem to be solved, it is a permanent state of being for all but the elite. The middle class, the bedrock of any stable housing market, has been systematically hollowed out and exiled. The infamous mansion tax was the final, arrogant blunder that froze the luxury market solid, and now that chill is spreading downwards through every zip code. The social contract of the city is broken, and its housing market is breaking with it, a slow-motion implosion broadcast to the entire world. Number 4. Lake Tahoe. We climb into the mountains, to the pristine, untouchable playground of the rich and powerful, only to find the ultimate luxury trap. This market became the personal piggy bank of the tech elite, their fortunes built on stock options and crypto profits. Now, that paper wealth has been incinerated, and the margin calls are coming in. These multi-million-dollar vacation homes are the first assets to be liquidated, flooding a fragile market that has no local economy to absorb the shock. There is no safety net here, only a long, steep fall back to reality. Number 3. San Jose. We now stand in the heart of Silicon Valley, and we are witnessing a cardiac arrest. The housing market in San Jose was not built on land or lumber. It was built on the ephemeral promise of tech stock wealth. As the industry enters a state of permanent, rolling downsizing, that promise has been broken. Every layoff announcement is another dagger in the heart of this market. The high-paying jobs that justified the $2 million starter homes are vanishing, and the market's psychology has flipped from FOMO to a desperate fear of catching a falling knife. The engine of the California dream has stalled, and the entire system is seizing up with it. Number 2. Irvine and Orange County. For decades, the OC bubble seemed invincible, a master-planned suburban paradise that defied all market logic. That defiance is over. The potent mix of new tech wealth and foreign investment that once fueled its relentless climb has evaporated. The affordability disconnect here is no longer just a crisis, it is a mathematical absurdity, a market that requires a household of surgeons to afford a basic tract home. The carefully manicured illusion of safety and stability has been shattered, replaced by a palpable fear as inventory piles up in the nation's most famously desirable zip codes. This will not be a correction, it will be a long overdue reckoning. Number 1. San Francisco. And so we arrive at our final destination, the undisputed epicenter of the California housing catastrophe. This is no longer a simple market collapse, it is a societal doom loop in motion. The city's soul, its tech industry, has hollowed out its core, leaving a vacuum of empty offices and broken promises. What remains is a city at war with itself, where the glittering dream has given way to a landscape of systemic failure. The real estate market is not just a victim of this decay, it is the most spectacular monument to it. Its freefall has no bottom because the city itself has lost its foundation. The Golden City's real estate market has turned to lead, a horrifying warning of what happens when a city's elite betrays its people.
What follows this collapse will not be a loud explosion, but a cold and penetrating silence. It is the silence that comes after the fever of speculation has finally broken. It is the quiet dread that fills the void once occupied by the relentless chorus of lies that told you this was a new paradigm, that this time was different. For a generation, we were told to believe that a home was not a home. It was not a place of shelter, of family, of memory. It was an entry on a ledger, a financial instrument to be traded in a global casino. A casino built with the phantom wealth of printed money and operated by the cold calculus of Wall Street algorithms. You were not a homeowner, you were merely collateral for their bets. Your dream was just a number on their balance sheet. And do not for a second console yourself that this is merely a California story. It is not. California is simply the future arriving ahead of schedule. It is the test kitchen for a new kind of America, a beta test for the managed decline of the middle class, where the rungs of the ladder of opportunity are sawed off one by one. The fault lines of this earthquake, the deliberate crushing of affordability, the unbridgeable chasm between the elites and everyone else run beneath the entire nation. The tremors you feel here today will be felt in your state tomorrow. What will rise from these ashes will not be the California of memory, but a stark and fractured landscape. A new feudalism will take root where the very concept of ownership is reserved for the few who will sweep in with cash to claim the wreckage, consolidating their power for the next generation. And the many will be relegated to the role of lifelong tenants, perpetually paying tribute to the new landlords of the American dream. They built this fantasy on a mountain of cheap debt and the whispered promise that the climb would last forever. But mountains built on lies are destined to crumble. The bill for this grand deception is now due, and it will be paid not by its architects in their towers of finance and government, but an entire generation that was sold a dream their parents once took for granted. This was not an accident. This was not a failure of the system. This was the system's final, brutal, and inevitable triumph. Welcome to the Great California Unraveling.